everyone, welcome back to Design, Create, Inspire. Today I am telling you my exact ARE test center day routine. I know we do, we have test center now, we have take home or take the exam at home. I'm going to tell you my test center routine and what really worked for me and what set me up for success. You can take these same recommendations if you are doing it at home too. So it might be a little bit different, but pretty close. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so I'm telling you what worked for me on test day. The big day, the anxiety-riddled day, the full of emotion, wild ARE exam day. But I will tell you, this, of course, is what worked for me. So take it with that. At the same time, I want to hear what worked for you. So if this isn't your first exam and you've taken them before, I want to hear what your testing routine is like. I have heard everything from wearing the same underwear, wearing compression socks, only scheduling on Mondays. People have their routines. So let me know in the comments, DM me, tell me. I want to hear what your routine is like. Okay, here is mine. First, I always scheduled the very first exam of the day. I'm talking like 6 a.m. I would arrive, the testing center wasn't even open. Now, what this did to me was this allowed me to have a complete morning without distractions. So I will tell you, I'm not a morning person, like at all. Now I wake up at like 5 a.m. because I have a child or two children. And when I was taking the exams, I did have my daughter. So I guess maybe like I was a little bit more used to waking up in the morning, but also was having sleepless nights. So I say all this because you don't have to be a morning person for this to be effective for you. But what I loved is that I would wake up really early. It was still dark outside. There's just this silence and stillness of the morning that felt so peaceful. It like the anxiety and the energy of the world hadn't been able to infiltrate my life yet. And I could go in and it was just very peaceful. So I would get all ready. I'd usually not eat a big breakfast. That's just who I am. I'd usually grab like a banana and coffee. And on the way to the exam center, I would leave. It was only like maybe 15 minutes from my house, but I would leave so that I'd had at least a half an hour in my car before I had to check in. So I would leave. It'd usually be like sunrise when I was leaving. Again, there's just like this energy of that day that I was calm. I would listen to Explosions in the Sky on my radio. If you know Explosions, love them. If you don't, check them out. And then sometimes maybe a little classical, but usually Explosions. I would drive there and I would just breathe and really focus my energy on my breath, my mental state, my mindset. I got this. I would tell myself, I got this. So it was this peaceful energy, right? I would arrive to the test center, I'd sit in my car, and that's where I would start reviewing some of my study notes. Maybe I would take like a 10 question little like practice quiz, but usually I was just reviewing like my big bold ones, like study before the exam notes. Usually it's just like a couple pages, maybe some formulas, that sort of thing, like last minute, maybe any areas that I wasn't 100% confident on yet. So I would do that in my car. Again, it was just like this quietness before I had to get in the hustle and energy of other people who were going to be taking exams in the exam room and just, have me. Then I would go, I'd check in, I'd put all my stuff away. At that point, I usually wouldn't study much more. Now it was mind games at that point. Now I was really focusing my energy on positivity. I got this. I've done everything I can up until this point to get me here, and I can totally do this. So it was a lot of, positive affirmations. I would go to the bathroom, like everyone, go use the bathroom first. And while I was doing that, I would really focus on my breathing. So I would take 3 really deep breaths. And I would continue that pep talk like, you've got this, you've studied this, you know this information. You've done everything you can to get to this point, and you've totally got this. And the breathing, the positive talks, the affirmations, it really helps release any anxiety. It helped lower my heart rate. It helped, just make sure I had enough oxygen. And it really, really helped with the mindset side of things. It also helped at that point not being so focused on studying because, with 30 minutes in, how much more do you really need to study in order to be super effective? At that point, it was like I had to release it. Like I had to release the idea that one more minute is going to change anything. And so releasing that and allowing me to instead focus on my mindset and my energy and my breath, it allowed me to go into the test center with a clear mind. Okay, so once I'm in the room, I did not instantly get on the computer and start. I sat down, I made sure my seat was exactly at the right height, exactly the right space. I made sure that my everything, I didn't want to do any adjusting once I had pressed go. So I wanted to make sure that my keyboard was in the right location. My mouse was in the right location. Things were set up. And then before I started, I again took 3 deep breaths and I just, all right, I got this. And so taking even just a minute in your chair, in the space where you're going to be sitting for the next few hours, and knowing that it's going to be okay, it again allowed calmness to come in. It allowed the release of anxiety. It allowed my mind to clear so that I could access all that information that I had stored in there. So a lot of breathing, a lot of lowering that heart rate, a lot of the proper setup, the proper work. Now, I have a couple tips real quick, but I wear glasses and would always wear them during my exam, and the headphones would actually really hurt based on my glasses. So I would always get the earplugs. So my testing center did offer earplugs. I don't know if that's a thing anymore or if it's offered, but ask if you can have earplugs, because that really helped, because I would get distracted with other people, but also the headphones hurt. So I didn't love that option as well. So try that, or don't wear glasses when you go in, which sometimes I would end up doing because I learned that lesson. And then last, I would take a deep breath and then I would just go. And I would release the idea that I hadn't studied enough or I wasn't prepared enough. It was just, all right, I have done everything I can and I am ready to go. So that is essentially my day of, my morning. So with breaks and all that kind of stuff, it's different than when I was taking it versus how it is now. So I'm not going to give my advice for that, because there's people who have taken it now with the breaks and have maybe better recommendations. So that was a little bit different. So I'm not going to include that. But also, if you are taking it at home, you really can implement all of these as well. Maybe it's not sitting in your car for half an hour studying, but maybe it's going and sitting outside, or sitting in a special place in your house that's outside of where you're going to be testing, and maybe going for a walk instead of the drive where I listen to my music. Maybe you go walk around the block and you have headphones on and you just listen to some explosions in the sky or some calming music that you enjoy. So figure out what works for you and create some sort of routine that now you can get excited about and enjoy. I really loved my routine, and so it was something that I could look forward to on test day. And that is what is most important, signaling my brain that there's something to look forward to. And then always, don't forget to celebrate. Afterwards, I would always take myself to a nice lunch and have a beer. So enjoy, and yeah, you got this. Let me know what your routines are, if you've done them, or what you plan to do. All right. As always, subscribe, like, do all the things, and I will see you here next week for another episode. Have a good one. Bye.